y hasta llegué a decirle que era mía, sabiendo que en sus brazos nada sentía. Ahora
Hey, I'm Paul Perez. I'm from Trenton, New Jersey, originally born and raised here in Trenton. And I'm just a regular guy, man.
no le hagas como yo, que no le fui leal.
So I joined the military in 1980, in December 1980, as a young man straight out of high school. I went to Fort McClellan, Alabama for basic training, where I became a soldier and then later on became a military police officer in the United States Army. I had a wonderful career. I served actually 20 years in the military, traveling all over the world and starting off as an enlisted man and making my way all the way up into the officer ranks. I had a wonderful career. I had opportunities to work at the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. I worked in the Pentagon, and I traveled abroad. During my time, I ended up serving in places like the 101st Airborne Division, Just Cause in Panama, Desert Shield and Desert Storm, and then retired after 20 years. Well, during my career in the military, I had the opportunity to work with a lot of different well-known names now in the history books. Some of them were famous, some of them were infamous. Some of them will always be great people in the history of our books of America. I had the pleasure of being the personal security officer for the then Secretary of Defense, Dick Cheney, who later became the Vice President of the United States, and serving side by side with General David Petraeus, who at the time that I met him was a brand new major in the United States Army, very brilliant guy, West Point graduate, and incredibly smart, and very, very, very easy to get along with, and was a superb leader. General Carl Vono, who was also from the Monongahela Valley, very strong leader, straightforward general who serviced the military and helped them get through their new air-land battle doctrine back then, and always focused on the training of the soldier and development of the soldier. Was a wonderful man to work for in the Pentagon also. There's been a lot of different people that we've come across and had an opportunity to see during my career, and I truly feel that it's been blessed, having come from Trenton, New Jersey, and not graduating from Trenton High School, but getting a GED, and then later on making my way through the military ranks and on to bigger and better things in the federal government. So throughout the course of the military career that I had over the 20 years, I had an opportunity to meet some great individuals, as I mentioned previously, and then also I was exposed to a lot of different opportunities, working and sitting in meetings in Congress, in the White House, in the Pentagon, in NATO, in most of the NATO member countries, Italy, France, Greece, Germany, Turkey. There were many places that we had an opportunity to go and see the world stage and how the world got along and how the world did business, and the things in the strategic build-ups to issues that were of national interest to Americans at home. And it always sparked an interest in me. And I said, one of these days I might have an opportunity to do something, not at that scale maybe, but at a lower scale. And I know I mentioned France earlier. France wasn't a true member of NATO. They were actually observers. But being a part of that always sparked a feeling for me, maybe in the future, that I might get involved and then come back and deliver something to my city at a smaller scale. So it was during that time that I then began my federal career, first as a Department of Homeland Security Protective Security Advisor on critical infrastructure for the governor of Puerto Rico and the governor of the Virgin Islands during or right after 9/11. It was very important that the United States of America conducted an inventory and collected up all of its information, accurate information regarding our critical infrastructure throughout the Caribbean, and I was tasked to do that. It was a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for me. And once again, it put me in a position where I was dealing with host nation personnel, people from the territories, representing Washington, D.C., the headquarters, and continued to build up that spark. I went on to do several different things. I went on to work at the National Institute of Health. I went on to work at the Export-Import Bank of the United States. I went on to work at the National Science Foundation as a senior executive in the federal government. And it was wonderful. During that time, I received training opportunities. I told you earlier I went to school to 3 months in the 11th grade. I got my GED. I left and went to the Army. I got my bachelor's while I was in the Army. And then in the federal government, I had an opportunity to go and attend. I was specially selected to go and attend the Senior Executive Fellows in Harvard University, and then also American University key executives. So I had some wonderful opportunities in professional development and leadership that I think also prepared me to come back home. So through all of those experiences that I've had and all of those opportunities that I've seen and been a part of, I've always collected bits and pieces on strategic thinking, development of, and probably development, conflict resolution at a larger scale in the military, and then also in a smaller scale in the workplace example or workplace, where we had opportunities to engage people who were having issues of not being heard or not being part of something, or having great ideas and not having the right platform to present them. So I quickly developed a reputation for being a leader who was willing to listen, willing to hear people who had great ideas or new ideas, whether I liked them or not, giving them an opportunity to talk things out and to always look for a way to do things in a more efficient way, in a more effective way, and in a way that was inclusive, that had everybody becoming a part of whatever movement it was. That career was very successful. As I told you, I was a senior executive in the federal government, which most people don't attain. You know, that's the highest you can go in the federal government without being appointed directly by the President of the United States himself. So I think it was a great accomplishment. That continued to build a fire in my belly. I always look back to Trenton, having 15 members of my family here, and their children and their children's children, understanding the issues that were happening here in the city. I then had an opportunity to meet and talk with several people from our hometown who then sparked the further interest of politics when they said to me, "Why don't you consider coming home and doing something?" I didn't know what that something was going to be. I first came back as a straight businessman in the private sector, and then later on, as things developed in the city, and I saw a void, a fractured city, a city missing or without true leadership, I decided to run for mayor. It was a great experience. It gave me an opportunity to meet many people, to hear their issues and their needs, and then to work with them to find what resources are available, and then putting together a plan that could possibly help the city move into a new direction.